Good morning everyone. Today we are going to see the dissection of the face. If we see the boundaries of the face is extending from the hairline above to the mandible below and from one auricle to the other auricle. So if you note here that forehead is common both to the scalp as well as to the face. To start with the dissection of the face, the first incision is the midline incision extending from the root of the nose to the point of the chin. The second incision is kept from the angle of the mouth to the posterior border of mandible on both the sides. Right? So putting this midline incision and one horizontal incision, we can reflect the skin like this. So one flap will go towards the auricle and the lower flap it will be reflected towards the mandible. Right? Similarly on the other side, one flap will go towards the auricle and the lower flap it will go towards the mandible. Next to the skin is the superficial fascia. In the face, the superficial fascia is containing muscles, vessels, nerves and variable amount of the fat. The fat is more abundant in the cheeks, particularly in children, forming the buccal fat. Right? But however, in the eyelids, the fat is absent. In the face, the deep fascia is absent except over the parotid fascia. Right? So we do have presence of deep fascia but only over the parotid fascia and also over the buccinator muscle. The facial muscles, as you know, they are present in the subcutaneous tissue, right, or superficial fascia, and they represent morphologically remnant of the panniculus carnosus. Now here what we are doing, on one side we are concentrating on more superficial dissection, so we are focusing to see the facial muscles, and on the other side we are more focusing on the deep dissection and we want to see the vessels and nerves of the face. As the muscles of the face, they are present in the superficial fascia, actually they are intermingled or they are present within the fatty layer. So don't expect to see the muscles as you have seen in other regions like upper limb or lower limb. We cannot very clearly separate the muscles of the face from the superficial fascia. Functionally, the facial muscles, they are arranged in groups around the orifices of mouth, eye, nose and ears as the sphincters and the dilators. So primary function of these muscles is to regulate these orifices, but the facial expression, they are actually their side effects, we can say. So now we are going to see the muscles of the face in groups. First we will see the muscles of the eyelids. There are 4 muscles around the eyelids. First is orbicularis oculi. So this muscle that is present in circular manner around the eyelid, the part of the orbicularis oculi which you can see here, this is the orbital part. The part of the orbicularis oculi which is present in the eyelid, this is the palpebral part, and the medialmost fibers, this is the lacrimal part. The other muscle in the group of the muscles around the eyelid, these fibers, these are of corrugator supercilii, right? These fibers, this is corrugator supercilii. These are the fibers of frontalis, which is a part of occipitofrontalis, which we have seen in the scalp. And the 4th muscle in the group of the muscles around the eyelids is levator palpebrae superioris. That muscle is present in the orbit and we will see along with the dissection of the orbit. Muscles around the nose, first is procerus. These are the fibers of procerus, you can see on both the sides, right? This is procerus. Next muscle is nasalis. Nasalis is having 2 parts. First is compressor naris and another is dilator naris. The fibers of the compressor naris, they are present in this manner. We are not able to see much amount of the fibers of compressor naris here, but the location is this one. So it is basically compressing the nasal cavity. These are the fibers of the dilator nares. So compressor nares and dilator nares, part of nasalis, and you can see these muscle fibers. This is depressor septi. The muscles around the lips and the cheeks. Here the sphincteric component is formed by the orbicularis oris, and the dilator component is formed by 9 muscles which radiates from the angle of the mouth. Muscles of the upper lip, they are 3 in number. The first is levator labii superioris alecunasi. Then just medial to it you can see one more muscle fibers. This is levator labii superioris. And the third muscle going around the upper lip, that is zygomaticus minor. So this muscle is zygomaticus minor. The muscle of the lower lip is only one. This is depressor labii inferioris. Converging to the angle of mouth, there are 5 muscles. The first is levator anguli oris. So the one which is elevating and it is going towards the angle of the mouth. Right? This is levator anguli oris. Then zygomaticus major. Then depressor anguli oris. Risorius. And in a deeper plane, buccinator. So these 5 muscles which are converging around towards the lateral angle of the mouth, it forms a nodular palpable mass which is known as the modulus. So this point is modulus where our 5 muscles are converging. The arterial supply of the face, it is derived mainly, the chief artery is the facial artery. Then transverse facial artery and few cutaneous branches accompanying the cutaneous branches of trigeminal nerve. So first we will see the facial artery. Facial artery is a branch of external carotid artery which is given just at the tip of the greater corner of hyoid bone in the carotid triangle, that we will see in the anterior triangle where we can see the origin of facial artery. Then it ascends up, it crosses the lower border of the mandible at the anteroinferior angle of masseter. You can see these fibers. This is masseter. So just and this is the lower border of mandible. At the anteroinferior angle of masseter, you can see this is your facial artery. Facial artery, when it is crossing the lower border of the mandible, it is crossed superficially by one branch. This is marginal mandibular branch of facial nerve, and the vein, the facial vein is lying deep to the facial artery, right? So if we go from deep to superficial, deepest is facial vein, then this is facial artery, and this is marginal mandibular branch of facial nerve. This relationship is important. The facial artery is known as anesthetist artery because the pulsations of this facial artery can be easily felt at the anteroinferior angle of masseter. Near the lower border of mandible, when you clench your teeth, right? So by clenching your teeth, you make the masseter muscle prominent. So you can easily feel the anterior border of the masseter, feel the anteroinferior angle of masseter, and you can easily feel the pulsation of this facial artery. One thing which you note here, that this facial artery is very much tortuous in course, right? This tortuosity is basically to allow the movements of the mandible during chewing and talking, right? So this artery needs to be tortuous. So we have seen the relationship of facial artery here, marginal mandibular nerve, facial artery and facial vein. Moving upwards, the artery ascends on the face. Now here, if you see the facial artery, it is crossed superficially by risorius, zygomaticus major and zygomaticus minor. These are the fibers of zygomaticus minor. And in the lowermost part here there are the fibers of platysma. So the facial artery is crossed superficially by platysma, rhizorius, zygomaticus major and zygomaticus minor. So we need to reflect this so we can see nicely the facial artery. So I am reflecting major, zygomaticus major, this is zygomaticus minor, this is rhizorius. Now you can clearly see the course of the facial artery. During its course, when it ascends upwards, it gives one branch to the lower lip. Right? So if I lift this artery, you can see one branch going towards the lower lip. This is inferior labial branch of facial artery given in the face. Then it ascends upwards 1.25 centimeter lateral to the lateral angle of the mouth. You can see this is the facial artery. So this course is important. Facial artery lies 1.25 centimeter lateral to the lateral angle of the mouth. Then it ascends up, and when it arises near the upper lip, it gives one more branch. This is superior labial branch of facial artery. Right? So we have seen two branches to the lower lip, inferior labial, to the upper lip, this is superior labial. Then the artery ascends up. Now when it is going upwards, the artery rests on, you can see this muscle is buccinator. So the muscle lying deep to the facial artery is buccinator. Here it lies on mandible. Then it ascends up. Sometimes it also lies on the levator labii superioris and levator anguli oris. It ascends up. When it comes near or lateral to the ala of the nose, it is giving one branch which is known as lateral nasal branch. We are not able to see very nicely the lateral nasal branch, but here it gives one branch which is known as lateral nasal branch. Then the artery ascends up. At the medial angle of the eye, it ends by anastomosing with dorsal nasal branch of the ophthalmic artery coming from above. So from above there is dorsal nasal branch of ophthalmic artery. From below it is the continuation of the facial artery. So it is ending by anastomosing with the dorsal nasal branch of ophthalmic artery at the medial angle of the eye. So the facial artery is giving three branches in the face. Lateral nasal branch, this question is asked so many times, branches of the facial artery in the face. One is lateral nasal branch, then superior labial and inferior labial. Coming to the nerve supply of the face, each half of the face is supplied by 13 pair of nerves. Out of this 13 pair of nerves, only one is motor, that is facial nerve, which is supplying the musculature of the face. 11 cutaneous branches are of trigeminal nerve, and one is great auricular nerve, which is coming from the cervical plexus. This great auricular nerve, you can see here, this is great auricular nerve, and it is only supplying the skin covering the angle of the mandible. Right? Rest all the skin cutaneous supply is coming from the branches of the trigeminal nerve. So only the skin covering the angle of the mandible, it is coming from great auricular nerve, which is a branch of cervical plexus. Now in the face, if we are looking for the motor supply of the face, you cannot ignore the relationship of the facial nerve with the parotid gland. So first understand the borders or the boundaries of the facial parotid gland. So this is masseter muscle, and on the masseter you can see resting parotid gland. Right? So this is parotid gland, this is masseter, this becomes the anterior border of parotid gland, this entire is the anterior border, this is the base, this is apex of parotid gland. You can see this is the apex, anterior border, and this is the base. The base is related to the external acoustic meatus, right? Now, to see the branches of the facial nerve, the 5 branches of the facial nerve, they are emerging out from the anterior border of the parotid gland, and it is having appearance like this. Like if I arrange my 5 fingers on the face, the 5 fingers, they are representing the 5 branches of the facial nerve which will supply the musculature of face. So this is the first branch which is represented by thumb. This is the temporal branch. This is zygomatic, buccal, marginal mandibular and cervical branch. So you can see that it is having the appearance of a goose foot. So first is temporal, zygomatic, buccal, marginal mandibular and cervical. Now let's see each and every branch in detail. So all these branches, as I said, they are emerging out of the anterior border of the parotid gland, and this is the base of the parotid gland, right? So starting from here, you can see 3 structures which are emerging from the base of the parotid gland. So this first branch, you can see this is temporal branch, right? This is temporal branch of facial nerve. Next to it, this is superficial temporal vessels, and behind the superficial temporal vessels and auricle, you can see one nerve emerging. This is auriculotemporal nerve. Fine. So 3 structures are emerging from the base of the parotid gland. From anterior to posterior, we can say this is temporal branch, this is superficial temporal vessels, and between the auricle and the superficial temporal vessels, this is auriculotemporal nerve. Now this temporal branch, after emerging from the base of the parotid gland, it is going to supply, see, you can see that it is dividing into so many branches here. So it will go and supply the frontalis, corrugator supercilii and upper part of orbicularis oculi, right? So these 3 muscles are supplied by the temporal branch. Next, see, this is the anterior border which we have reflected. You can see this is the anterior border of parotid gland, and if I reflect this, this is zygomatic branch which is resting on the zygomatic arch, and it will go and it will supply only the lower part of the orbicularis oculi. It is supplying only one muscle, or better to say part of one muscle, that is lower part of orbicularis oculi. So this is zygomatic branch. Fine. So now I am putting this border again like this. So this is zygomatic branch of facial nerve. Now here you can see one prominent structure. This is zygomaticus major. So after reflecting this, you can see one duct like structure. This is parotid duct, right? You can see that it is resting on the masseter, emerging out of the anterior border of parotid gland. So this is parotid duct. In relation to parotid duct, you need to identify 2 nerves. This is upper buccal and this is lower buccal. Fine. This is parotid duct. Just superior to parotid duct, this is upper buccal branch, and just below the parotid duct, this is lower buccal branch. Also here you can see this is transverse facial. Here this is transverse facial artery. Transverse facial artery, that is also supplying the face. It is a branch of superficial temporal artery, but it is also emerging out of the anterior border of parotid gland. So this is transverse facial artery. Here if you see, right, so this is duct resting on the masseter, upper buccal and lower buccal. Upper buccal branch, that is supplying, you can see one branch is going to the zygomaticus major, right? It is supplying zygomaticus major. It will also supply zygomaticus minor, levator labii superioris levator labii aliquinacei and levator anguli oris. This is a lower buccal branch, right? This is zygomaticus major, which we have reflected, and this is upper buccal and this is lower buccal. Lower buccal branch that is supplying buccinator, this muscle buccinator, and orbicularis oris, right? This is lower buccal supplying two muscles, buccinator and orbicularis oris. Going below, this branch we have seen, this is marginal mandibular branch of facial nerve. It is also emerging from the anterior border of the parotid gland, crossing superficially to facial artery. It will go further and it will supply risorius, depressor anguli oris, fibers of mantalis, and depressor labii inferioris. So this is marginal mandibular branch. And the last branch, that is the cervical branch, we can't see it here, that we will see in the neck. It is arising from the apex, we can say, from the apex of the parotid gland, the cervical branch. It will go and supply the platysma in the neck.